Scrum, Kanban, Scrumban. If you found this video, chances are you were just searching for one or perhaps more than one of the above. If so, I have a great episode for you, and not one, but three rather lovely cheat sheets. Hi, my name is Gary Strawn. Welcome to Development That Pays, the #1 Agile channel on YouTube. If we're meeting for the first time and you like what you see here, please consider subscribing and remember to hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. Let's get right to it with the easy one, Scrum. Scrum traces its history back to 1986. Mesher, Schwaber and Sutherland, and sometimes Beadle, evolved it over the course of a decade, with the Scrum Guide making its debut in 2010. The Scrum Guide was a masterstroke, helping to propel Scrum to its current position as dominant Agile framework. It's free, it's freely available, meaning that the vast majority of teams that claim to be doing Scrum will at the very least be aware of the Scrum Guide and should have a pretty good idea of whether what they are doing is or is not Scrum Guide compliant. Although Scrum has many moving parts, it's not prescriptive. It tells you roughly what to do, but doesn't tell you how. It's framework rather than methodology. Let's just enjoy that clarity for a second. Scrum is a framework, definitely. Moving on to Kanban. Now, Kanban at its root, at its heart, at its origin, is neither framework nor methodology. It's a set of principles. These principles: visualize the work, limit work in progress, focus on flow, continuous improvement. Because it is a set of principles, Kanban has wide application, from factories to shops to restaurants to coffee shops and many more besides. Kanban is far older than Scrum, tracing its roots back to the 1940s, but it wasn't until the noughties that it made its presence felt in our Agile world. In 2004, David J. Anderson published Kanban Method, followed in 2010 by this book, Kanban's Successful Evolutionary Change for Your Technology Business. Have we found Kanban the framework? Let's see what the author says. I describe Kanban, capital K, as the evolutionary change method that utilizes a Kanban, small k, pull system, visualization and other tools in order to catalyze the introduction of lean ideas into technology development and IT operations. Method, not framework. That kind of puts me in a bind. On the left, Scrum. Definitely a framework and, thanks to the Scrum Guide, a well-defined framework. Sharp focus. On the right, Kanban, out of focus. In the decade or so since this book was published, we might have expected a Kanban guide, something to bring Kanban, the framework, into sharp focus. But it hasn't arrived, so the Kanban framework is perhaps more concept than concrete, but it's a useful concept all the same. On this channel, I often talk about Scrum and Kanban, the Agile frameworks. And although there is no Kanban guide, if your team plans to do Kanban, then this is the book that I would recommend. Unless that is, you're currently doing Scrum. David J. Anderson wasn't the only one back in the noughties applying those Kanban principles to Agile development. In 2008, Corey Ladas threw his hat into the ring. His paper Scrumban was followed a year later by this book, Scrumban, Essays on Kanban Systems for Lean Software Development. If you've heard the word Scrumban before, perhaps you assumed, as I did, that it represents some kind of hybrid, a halfway house perhaps between Scrum and Kanban. Read the book and it's clear that Ladas, like Anderson, is all about those Kanban principles, but unlike Anderson, Ladas defines a very specific starting point, Scrum. Three things to say about that. Number one, I think that was a really smart move on Ladas's part to take aim at where the activity, where the noise was in the Agile community at that time, of course, in Scrum. Number two is that I don't consider Scrumban to be a framework as such. I much prefer to describe it as a pathway that starts at Scrum, the framework, and ends, well, I think we could say at Kanban, the conceptual framework. And number 3, if you're currently doing Scrum, then Scrumban has a surprising amount to offer you. I'll talk about that in just a second after the small matter of the cheat sheets. This is the Scrum cheat sheet. In the description below, you'll find a link. Click the link, enter your email address, and I'll get a copy of this to you. If you're watching this in the future, you may also find a Kanban cheat sheet. I don't have one at the time of recording, but what I do have is a Scrum versus Kanban cheat sheet. Again, link in the description below. And last, but by no means least, you will also find a link to this, the newly updated Scrumban cheat sheet. Again, follow the link, enter your email address, and it is all yours. Okay, back to the action. Where were we? Yes, benefits of Scrumban to you if you are currently doing Scrum. As I said, this book is aimed directly at you. If you pick up the book and follow it all the way through to the end, you'll no longer be doing Scrum. But you don't move away from Scrum until more than halfway through the book. The first half and a bit is all about applying those Kanban principles to Scrum, while remaining, I hasten to add, 100% Scrum Guide compliant. When I figured that out, I went all in on Scrumban. Not content with a cheat sheet, I created a fully blown course, the Scrumban Blueprint, with a 2.0 version of that course due out shortly. If you're watching this in the future, it may be available now. Check the links for more details. If this notion of augmenting Scrum with Kanban principles makes you feel a little uncomfortable, it may interest you to know that in 2018, Scrum.org got in on the act and published the Kanban Guide for Scrum teams. So what do you reckon? Are you open to the idea of augmenting Scrum with Kanban principles? Let me know in the comments below and keep watching. These may be of interest.